Hey everybody. I just got through watching a video or listening to a video by Jerry Tony, who's, one of the hypesters, one of the speculators, end times hobbyist. Got a little career going with his own church in Texas, built upon a following of people who bought into his Revelation 12 sign hype 2 years ago. Anyway, Jerry Tony's very much a typical prognosticator. He's fully convinced that we are moments away from so-called rapture occurring and the end of the world as we know it in the mark of the beast system. So here's the video I was watching. He's talking about get ready, this is all coming down right now. So I got to thinking, when you look around YouTube and you see all these guys like Barry Scarborough, 12 signs of soon rapture. What does soon mean? If you talk to these guys and try to get them to tell you what that means, that you won't get an answer. So they're allowed to use words like soon and then make them meaningless because they don't want a date set. But they want you to think it's soon, just around the corner, because otherwise you'll stop watching them. That's the truth. These guys use these terms on purpose to keep you watching. It's a carrot and a stick approach. If the rapture is soon, that is a feeling of maybe several days to a year or two. If that's all they give you, then they can hook you, because there's that carrot hanging there of the rapture. It's right there just out of reach. I'm going to run up to it, and grab it. And as soon as you run closer, boom, they run away another few feet. Carrot and stick. I'm not even sure they're conscious they're doing this. So what I really had to get into today, though, was, look, everything they say is so narrowly focused. It is so biased. It is so Western and USA centric that it's staggering. These guys literally think we are on the cusp of getting whisked to heaven, and then sometime after we're whisked to heaven, and none of them really think it's going to be much time. They think there might be a little gap, and things get back to normal, and then the Antichrist comes forward and does all of his stuff. And I'm here to tell you today that that's logically, I'm not even talking biblically right here. Logically, that makes no sense at all. No sense at all. Let's take a look at what Jeffrey Grider is saying these days. So you can't really see all that, but basically he's saying the United States government will be installing facial recognition scanning machines in airports. This is supposed to be, a precipitator to the mark of the beast system, which oddly enough in the last few years has just grown into this crazy, just because technology has changed, suddenly they've taken a verse in Revelation that says you can't buy or sell without the mark. They've turned that into Big Brother will be worldwide monitoring every move you make, every conversation you have, every transaction you conduct, and it's all going to be data-based and managed in part by some sophisticated AI technology, and there's going to be RFID chips in everybody's palm. I mean, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. People have a bias based on what they see in the news and what they see going on in the US and what they see happening with technology, and they just reorient the Bible around that. The Bible doesn't say that the whole world is going to be monitored and controlled, every aspect of your life, by the government. It doesn't say anything like that in the Bible. Nowhere. But yet that's what has to happen because that's what's possible. All right, so let's just assume that they're right, that that's what's going to happen. Let's take their logic. Let's take their story. Let's take the story that, this is all coming. Oopsie, this is all coming and coming soon, okay? Everybody thinks this is soon. Everybody gets mad at me when I question why people say soon. Let's just talk about this for just a second and logically talk about it. When you look at what they're saying is going to happen, it's actually a dichotomy between utter chaos and perfect coordination. So the rapture hits That's what Chick Tracks used to say. The rapture hits, or we are raptured out, as Barry Scarborough likes to say, which is hilarious. So the rapture hits, and we have utter chaos. We have planes falling from the sky. We have car crashes, panic in the streets, mass power outages. Revelation talks about the water being poisoned. We have food shortages, massive, out of control inflation. This is what the story is. I'm not getting this from the Bible necessarily. I'm getting this from what pre-tribber speculators say. Unparalleled weather conditions. We're gonna have. You think the weather's bad now and the hurricane? Oh man, wait till the tribulation. It's going to be out of control, crazy, Gestapo-like cruelty to people. And like I said, every single move you make is monitored closely by AI and robots and tiny little things flying around your head, like drones, and I mean just crazy stuff based on the technology of the day. So all this is going on while all this is going on right here. Okay, I haven't even mentioned the things in Revelation, like flaming mountain rock falling from the sky into the ocean, earthquakes that are so great that every island and mountain is moved out of its place. People that are these speculators, these hypesters, they take that literally. That there's going to be literal earthquakes, actual earthquakes, scientific rocks moving in the ground, so that every island and mountain is moved. Okay, so I haven't even mentioned that. But let's talk. At the same time, we're supposed to believe these same people are telling us there's going to be perfect coordination. We're going to have a database of all human activity. Think about this. Listen, you guys are so ignorant, it's ridiculous. Do you have any idea the technology that will require to have a database of every transaction, every word spoken, every move you make on your, on foot and in your car? Do you have any clue what you're saying? The massive amount of data space and processing power to do such a thing. It's just mind-boggling. AI and robots controlling things. Pervasive worldwide network. This is a good one. They think the internet is the beginnings of this pervasive worldwide network. And when I say pervasive, I mean in every nook and cranny on the planet. Because every single person, today around 8 billion or 7 billion people, they're all going to have to be chipped and then monitored and tracked, and all their transactions monitored and tracked. All of them, everybody, according to them. And then, not to mention, perfect coordination to get every government aligned under one government. Guys, there's over 200 countries right now. You realize that this is just a fact. There are over 200 different countries in the world, all of which have their own governments, many of which have smaller governments underneath those bigger governments, like state and local governments. Some of which, like the United States, for example, has 50 different state governments that are not all coordinated and aligned. Some of them have different laws they all have different laws based on different things. So every government on the entire planet has to be aligned under one singular set of laws, languages, economies, money, currency. All this has to be all perfectly set up and aligned. I didn't even put religion in here. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. So imagine the coordination that has to take place while we have utter chaos going on. Utter chaos, perfect coordination. Right off the top, guys, be honest with yourselves. Does this actually make sense? Does this actually even make logical sense? If you were making a movie or writing a book about this stuff, would this make sense to the audience? Would they have to suspend their disbelief like crazy to accept it? Because that's what they say. Go watch their videos. Now let me say this. This is supposedly in the Bible and told to us by the God of the universe, who makes perfect sense all the time. God never speaks nonsense, ever. Every single word spoken by the Lord will come to pass. It will not fail. It will never pass away, and it always makes sense. Does this make sense right here? Let me show you a couple things, couple more things. Okay, so here's Here's a Google Earth. Oh, goodness gracious. Here's a Google Earth image. All right. This is Mumbai, India. This is a city of 12 million people plus. Here's the airport. They're what's called, an emerging economy. There's second world economy. Okay, so they have some electricity, they have some running water, they have some really high-end, sophisticated technology centers. They have, an airport and everything. You know what else they have in their 12 million person population? Massive slums. Massive slums. So do you see all these little things down there? Do you see all those specks? Do you know what those are? Those are slums. Those are little individual tin, metal, tent-like structures all smashed together. As I zoom in, you can see right next to the airport. You guys see anything missing here? Here's some cars out here. There's no roads. Do you think all these people have internet access? Do all these guys have internet access to their home, right to their homes? Do some of these people not even have electricity? By the way, it's a fact, you guys. Over a billion people, with a B, billion people on the planet today don't even have electricity. They don't even have electricity. How on earth are you going to wire everybody up into this pervasive worldwide network and start controlling them soon? Soon. This could happen today, we're told. The rapture could be today. Okay, if the rapture is today, there's a couple of things that have to happen for your fantasy story to actually come to pass and make sense. Either, number one, there is a massive amount of time between the rapture and this so-called 7 years of hell on earth, like decades. Or number two, and a miracle has to occur. God has to literally empower the devil with miraculous ability to pull everybody together and miraculously create out of thin air electricity for a billion people and internet connections to all these individual things. This is just one major city in India, which, by the way, India is far more sophisticated than other third world or second world countries and third world countries. Look at all these people you have to hook up, you guys. This is going to happen soon. Okay, it's going to be a miracle then. And I can just hear you guys telling me that. Oh yeah, he's going to signs and miracles. Do any signs and miracles in the Bible ever indicate or even hint that some of the signs and miracles that he's going to perform have to do with networking the entire world so he can track their every move? Is that what the Bible actually says? God's going to give him miraculous power to control everybody with AI. All these guys here, like, look at these little this is one like image of a street bazaar in India or somewhere. Every one of these shops has to get electricity, and they might have electricity. They all have to get a point of sale system that's computerized, that's then hooked to the internet, that's then part of this really sophisticated software and hardware system that tracks all the buying and selling. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Here's another one. Now, here's that slum. Here's a close-up of one of the slums in Mumbai. You guys, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Every one of these things, these little buildings here, and all these people, you kidding me? They're all going to have high-speed internet access and electricity, and oh, and by the way, you're going to find all these people, get them out of their slum, down the street to a chipping center, and and the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible doesn't say everybody has to be controlled. It just says can't buy or sell. Let me postulate a theory. This is a theory because, I don't have actual scripture to back this up, and I'm not going to try to go back in history and tell you when this happened. So it's a theory. In most of human history, buying and selling was the domain of the wealthy. The merchants bought and sold. Most of the people, the everyday people that lived and breathed and worked and farmed on this planet for the last 2,000 years, the last 6,000 years, most of them didn't do any buying or selling at all, virtually none. Do you think maybe that this is a first century thing that says this? If you take the mark of the beast, you're allowed to participate in the upper echelons of society. You're allowed to be part of the more sophisticated, richer people. If you don't take the mark of the beast, you can't. You're on your own. You are put out of the system. Don't you think that makes a lot more sense? Again, most of world history has not depended on buying and selling for everyday economics. In fact, most of India is not an economy like ours. See, you guys look at the United States of America and you just assume that's the way it is everywhere on the planet. Everybody has electricity and internet access, and 1 billion people have no electricity. 1.5 billion to 2 billion people don't have internet right now. And probably half the world is still living on an economy of subsistence. They farm what they eat. But yet we're told, yeah, people will be starving in the streets because they won't take the mark. No, they won't. They'll go to their homes and farm like they normally do. Some of these poor countries, their incomes are like $300 a year. What are they buying and selling with $300 a year, guys? They're not. They're not part of that economy. They'll come down to, the street here, to here and buy some flip-flops. This is probably mostly tourism anyway for this particular one, but they'll come down here and buy a couple things. Go read American history. People farmed 80%, 90% of what they consumed. They grew themselves, they made themselves. When there was something they couldn't make themselves, like a plow, yeah, they had to save up money or go get a loan at the bank down at the town and buy a plow, and it came in 3 months, and that's how most of the world still operates. And if you take the Bible literally, that the things in Revelation were shortly coming to pass 1900 plus years ago, and you think about what buying and selling meant then, it all makes sense. Read the Bible literally, believe what it says. This does not make sense at all.